tutti, sono Giuseppe e sto con mio amico Terrance. That's when you talk, Terrance. No, it wasn't. It was Italian.
Oh, I know Spanish.
Well,
Hola.
I mean, hey, I thought you'd enjoy some little, mix it up, Terrance. That's 2 semesters of Italian I'll give you, Terrance. It's a very brief intro.
Look at an Italian guy needing the actual studying in order to do his natural heritage language.
Yeah, that's the thing. You'd think having a dad who's born in Italy would help you with learning Italian, but no, he didn't teach me. But yeah, man, how you feeling?
For the people that didn't understand, Joe.
Oh, I said, hello, my name is Giuseppe, and this is my friend Terrance. Hopefully no one is listening to this episode for the first time and they started hearing a different language and they were like, well, turn this off.
If you turned this off, you got to put it in the description, Joe. Hold on. Like, you just threw me completely off. Yes, sir. I gotta kind of, bring myself back to reality.
Interrupt me like you used to before in our old show.
Myself back, man.
This is, of course, Need I Say More, everybody. Welcome. If you need to reach out and correct me on my Italian, because I did fuck up at some point, you can reach out. You can follow us on Twitter at Need I Say More Pod, or email us at Need I Say More Pod, P-O-D, Need I Say More Pod at gmail.com. I'm getting tons of emails, Terrance. They're flooding the inbox right now. I don't even have there's too many to even read, but that's okay.
Love it.
That's not true. Pandemic day 398, plowing on through almost 400 days. God help us.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're fighting through. I just read a report today about the Johnson and Johnson vaccine being recalled due to the fact that there's a lot of people having
no, it's not. See, this thing, this is the misinformation. It's not a lot of people. It was like 20 of like the 30
That's a lot.
Of the like 30 million they've given out. No, I'm sorry. 6 women have developed it of the 9 million people. So that's like 0.00001%. I understand they need to look at it, but it's also like, come on now. I'm not really worried about that.
Well, a few people had some very concerning side effects. Even
almost too much, but yeah.
So
I actually was looking today to see if I can get an appointment for. I don't want the Johnson Johnson one anyway because not because of that. It's less.
Only a few people.
It's less effective. It's like 77%. The Moderna is like 95. I'm going for the 95%. Come on now. It's just that's math. But there's
I was looking up appointments too as well.
There's just none. And I knew this would happen. Yeah. This is why I was like, I even said, I was like, I think I'll wait a few weeks, but I thought I'd check. And I was like, yeah, everyone's trying to get it. So it's New York City. There's just too many people trying to get it. So
yeah. And plus it's becoming more easier to travel. If you have the shot, they're letting you in arenas easily. If you have the shot, it's just becoming one of those things like, life is just a bit harder without it. So,
and you know what, that's a good thing that it's not so much it's harder without it, but that it's better with the shot, because we need like 80% of the country to have it before we can really become good, And we're here's my worry, Terrance, is right now the shot's getting out there, millions and millions every day. We're doing fantastic. Right now, 37% of the country has at least one shot, which is awesome. But I'm wondering, like, when do we get to that point where people just don't want it? Like, when are we at the point where everyone who wants it has it? What if it's like 50%? What do we do then?
Yeah.
That's about, because then we're screwed.
Yeah, it's going to be horrible.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. Terrance, remember I mentioned that I've been like watching a lot of people falling and trying to do stuff and failing. I've been in a kick lately.
Oh, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So I've seen this in real life and of course in these videos. Why is it when people like slip going up or down stairs, why do they always fucking fall down the entire flight? I don't get it. I've slipped downstairs before in my life, of course. I never fall more than like a step or two. I catch myself. These people tumble down the whole goddamn thing.
You just have no sense of balance or whatever. Like,
but you have no sense of like, I can stop myself. Like it's a staircase, not like top of a goddamn mountain. Like,
yeah, but
why do they go?
It hurts stopping yourself. I've been in situations where I fell down the stairs and had to grab.
And you were like, "Fuck it,
let me
just keep going, baby," and just
no. I've grabbed onto the railing and that shit hurts. Like when your body like stops and everything, like you pick yourself up and then you got a big ass bruise on your arm. And like,
well, yeah, damn. But would you have you ever actually fallen completely down a flight of stairs? Like you were towards the top and just
no.
Yeah, I don't get it. I see it and I'm always like, huh?
I said, what, like a Simpsons character?
But that's what's so, I've seen people, and in these videos I've seen it too, like it's a common thing. People seem to just like they don't have the concept of like stopping themselves. They just they go into shock and they're like, oh, they just keep going.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I've seen people like the worst is when someone slips and they land on their back and then they just slide on their back. So I'm like, that's the easiest way to stop yourself. Just grab to the side or something.
You would think, right? You would think.
I mean, for me, it is. It's happened. I've slipped on my ass, but I just go boom, and I'm back up because I'm a grown ass man. But Terrance, what do we got in store for our Black Excellence shout out of the week?
Yeah, our Black Excellence shout out of the week is
of course, because Black History Year.
Black History Year, Black History Forever, Black History Every Day. And as we normally do, a new person every week or whatever. But today, under different circumstances, it's gonna go back out to the late great DMX, and for that, because I already gave kind of like a little bit last week or whatever, I'm not even gonna use my words. I'm just gonna let the man himself do the talking for us.
Always trust everyone to be themselves, but trust in the fact that you can see them well. I mean, so it's like, trust. It takes too much energy to not trust someone. I mean, it takes too much energy. You always got to stay 2 steps ahead of them, whatever. But trust them to be them.
To be themselves.
Trust the snake to bite you. Trust the lion to lie for you. Trust the thief to steal from you. Like, trust them to be them. Too. But know them when you see them. I could drop dead right now.
Oh, you're not.
That's what I'm saying. If I was to drop dead right now, my last thought would be, I've had a good life.
And rest in peace to the late great DMX. And
really like that clip, Terrance. It was a good clip.
It was. I had a moment when the news came out that DMX passed away, and it was a moment because I grew up with music. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and when DMX was big, my uncles was playing a lot of his music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How I grew up was I didn't really listen to a lot of West Coast music because we was on the East Coast and it was all West Coast East Coast thing, and my uncle used to always get like a bunch of the tapes and CDs and stuff. So I grew up with a lot of music, a lot of especially New York music. So when DMX was coming out and when DMX was really blowing up, I remember seeing the motorcycles with the Rough Riders. I remember seeing the DMX logo pretty much all over New York City and everything like that. And it was a big thing. And when the news came out that he passed away, it was kind of like that Kobe feeling where it was just like
shock.
Yeah, it was just like, what? Like, no, not him. Like, what? And obviously, we all know the history of him struggling with addiction and things like that. We all know that. But it was still just like I can't believe this is happening. And I just kind of was like listening to a lot of his music and a lot of his songs and things like that. And I came across that clip on Twitter and it kind of made me feel a little bit better because it was him saying, hey, you know what? I've done it. I've done it. And this was a interview he had on Drink Champs podcast. It was him, and he said this around February, and we're in April now, right?
Yes, sir. April 13th.
He said this in February. If I dropped that today,
wow. That's actually I didn't know it was so recent.
Yeah.
Maybe he ever think stuff like that, like somewhere somehow he almost knew, like a weird.
So that's a thing, right? Because they say like when it's happening, you kind of become a little at ease with life.
Maybe not even maybe not even subconscious, like a conscious thing. Maybe it was. Like sometimes I feel like there are weird things like that happen. Maybe that's just me.
And for him to kind of say that, like, what, if I dropped that today, my last thought would be I lived a good life. That made me feel a little bit better knowing that he was just like, yeah, I'm good with this. I'm good with this thing called life. I've done what I felt I needed to do, what I needed to be here for or whatever. And, obviously us on the other side, and my deepest condolences to the family and the loved ones.
For
You
sure.
know, obviously us being on the other side, it's a bit hard, and when we lose somebody that we look up to, and we admire and things like that, it's a bit sad. But then when you see things like them just kind of being at peace, it should definitely make us look at it a little bit different, and realize, and really kind of realize that death is a part of life as well. You know,
Yeah,
important.
it's a weird thing about being. It's a very uniquely human thing, right? Like we all know essentially from when we have thoughts, like cognitive thoughts, that we're gonna die someday, right? Like as when you're kids, you know that you're told, like someday you're gonna die. It's just a weird thing about it, but it's hard. Sometimes I think to really accept
It's
it
hard to
though.
accept.
Like we all, like me and you both know we're gonna die someday, right?
Yeah, can't live forever.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on something. We'll talk about that off air. But I do, but I do think that it is weird to really like when you really think about like, what if I do die? It is hard to really wrap your head around it sometimes. Like I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've tried, and it's like I don't. It's hard to even think about because no one wants to die. So yeah, it's hard, man. I don't know. Accepting death for
I
yourself, for other people, is just a very hard thing to do.
I think I'm probably more afraid of being too old to do for myself than I am of dying.
Right? Like you don't want someone having to take
Does
you
that
out
make
wiping your own
sense?
ass and do
I
the
don't, yeah,
base
I
things.
don't want that.
Yeah, me
I want
neither.
to be able to, walk to the bathroom, or like,
Yeah.
I just want to be able to do things myself. I'm probably more afraid of that than dying. If I die, like, it's
You know what it
done.
is? So I'm with you on that. I don't want to get to that point ever. But I'm actually more afraid of dying before I feel like DMX in that clip says like I'll know that I died happy. I don't feel like I'm at that point. You
Yeah,
know? Like
that's
I
true.
don't think I've done not that I'm unhappy, but I don't know that I've like found happiness,
Yeah.
like sustained. Like I feel like I'm still like, I mean, I'm in school, so maybe that's part of it, but I don't feel like I've hit where I need to go. And so
Well, there's a
maybe talk to me in 10
fulfillment, right?
years. Yeah, maybe in 10 years, I'll have like a great career and maybe I'll be
Yeah.
married or something. And I'll be telling you, you know what, like as much as I want to keep going with life, if I were to just drop down dead, I'd feel content.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet. So I guess I'm more afraid of that. I don't want to just die and then that's it. Like I didn't do anything. I feel like I did. I felt like I wouldn't have lived. Does that make sense?
No, 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 no. It makes a lot of sense, man. It makes a lot of sense. And like it just goes on to the fact of, and I watched, when he passed, I watched a lot of clips on Twitter, and a lot of people were posting a lot of things. DMX was a pretty happy person.
Right.
It was like a bunch of random clips of him just like with random people. There was one dude, he showed a picture. He's like, DMX picked me up from school one day because his dad was a promoter during a concert. And when he picked DMX from the airport, the dude was like, I gotta go pick up my son. So DMX was like, all right, cool, I'll go with you. And he signed him out of school. So this dude has a picture of himself and DMX in like the school, in front of the school. He's like, DMX signed me out of school, and was just like, nobody asked any questions at the school. I'm like, that's dope.
That's awesome, man.
He was at an Albanian wedding just dancing with random people.
I kind of love when celebrities are like, they don't really give a shit about just like, yeah, showing up to someone's wedding if it's something they would want. Like they're like, oh yeah, like you happen to know, sure, I'll show up to your wedding, just hang out for a minute, like because they know that that's going to give them happiness.
It was this guy, like, he lived. And I think that's what we all kind of look for, or whatever, in life, or whatever, is
Yeah.
is is just to live. Like, I want to be able to live. I want to be able to be comfortable. And, that gets the whole ton of to the money aspect of things in life, or
Yeah. I
whatever.
mean, that's
Like, it
money
just,
is. Yeah.
money. I've realized that money is literally just a comfortability factor.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like they say, money can't buy happiness, and that's true. But having not
It's a damn
having,
good down payment.
yeah, it's kind of one. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. But it's like I
That's a
think
fabulous line.
it's one of those things where it's like if you too focus on money, then yeah. Like I have an ex who's like she has these really fucked up views. Not that she's like obsessed with having a lot of money, but she has really kind of weird views about it that I don't really agree with. And if you have enough money to be happy, just be comfortable. It doesn't mean you need to be a millionaire or even close. But if you have
Right.
enough money to be just happy, then that's a much better thing than if you don't have enough, because then money becomes a big stress in your life, and that's going to prevent
Have you ever
happiness.
thought about your number?
What, like how, what if what
Like
what,
your number that you'd be like, you know what? I'm good. Like I can
Like if I
live
had
life
this
comfortable.
amount in my
Yeah.
account
Like if
for the
I'm
rest of my life, like how much would get me to the end of my life?
kind of, I guess like if you had to say like this amount I'd be happy with, I'd be content with, I'd be able to be comfortable with life. And
I
you
mean,
ever thought
just
about that amount?
I haven't, no. If I had like if I just had like one someone could put one deposit in my account of like money, and then like that's like what I need for the rest of my life. I mean, I don't know.
No, not just one amount. Like let's say, all right, let's paint it a different way. Let's
Okay.
say like you get a job offer and you can put the amount that you want, like the
Per year.
amount, per year. This is your salary per year. This is what you make per year.
You know, it honestly probably wouldn't be that much. Like I could,
So
because
I
here's the
kind of
thing.
want to know because I had this conversation with somebody older than me, and I'll tell you what they said. But go ahead.
I think I'm pretty good at managing my own money. I would like to believe that's how I feel. And so with that in mind, I have lived below my means for pretty much my entire adult life, actually, because that's what you kind of have to do. So realistically, dude, if I had a salary of just like 100K, which is really not that much in the grand scheme of things, I'd be just fine. I would be just fine. Because I've been just fine financially. Actually, flashback to 2018. I had a salary of 59K, I think it was, something like that. I had a girlfriend who I was in love with. I was happy. I was completely happy in that time, you know? And that's all I was making. But that wasn't cool. I would have loved to move out and get my own apartment. If I had 100K a year, I'd be fine. I'd get my own apartments. I'd have more than enough money. I could put money away. I could maybe invest or maybe make like a short film or something like after a few years, building some money up. But that would be fun for me.
So my number was actually 200K.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like 200 million.
No, my number was actually 200K.
Okay.
And
I mean, I would take more, but
right. No, because like you said, that's actually not a lot, right?
it's the way I've lived my life. I've lived my life below. I've lived below my means for such a long time that like I just don't think I need that much.
Right.
I realize what I need.
Right. And then with me, it was so I remember when I was working at Barclays Center a couple of years ago or whatever. This was probably like during like my first or second year, and I was going for a promotion. And I was asking the guy about I was asking the director about the promotion. We was just like walking and talking.
Right,
and out of nowhere, he just was like, "What's your number?"
No one's ever asked me that question.
No one's ever asked me that before. I'm looking at him. I was like, what? He's like, he was like, what's your number of happiness? And I didn't understand it. And I was like, you're asking me how much like I'm looking for or whatever. He's like, no. What's your number of happiness? And I still didn't get it. So then he broke it down to me. He's like, look, no matter how well you do in life, you're always going to get more money, right? As you get better, as you
Hopefully,
improve,
right? Yeah.
Right. So, you're going to do better in life, which means you're going to bring in more money, right? He's like, there's going to be a point in time where you make a certain amount that you may not even need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, always stick to your number. Whatever your number is, if you say $90,000 is my number, it's going to make me happy and everything like that. If you get a salary that's 180, you're looking at it like, well, 90, I know what 90 does for me. 90 is I'm content. I'm good. I'm good with 90. So the other 90 is, hey, I don't know, maybe an extra vacation, maybe
Right.
I invest some, or whatever it is, but it was just like that number, your like happiness number where you can live life comfortably. If you stick to that, this dude is Greg. He's probably doing well right now. He's living in Vegas, retired or something,
Jeez. Well, so wait, was he
good.
saying he's saying if 90 was your number and you make 180, don't start living a lifestyle that's higher than 90?
Yeah, don't start living 180 life. Stay to your 90 life.
I probably would, and maybe let's say I say my number is 100. If I was making 250 a year, I probably would raise it a bit. But you have to understand, man, when I moved out here, I spent most of my money just getting to New York and getting my own apartment and spending the furniture
in a week.
Well, I was like 2 actually, but I spent all my, it was hard, man. It was brutal. but it was hard, man. And we needed to, I spent all my money doing that. And I had no money for the first couple of months living here. I eventually got the job at Toys R Us, but I was a seasonal and I was making like okay money. And then even after I got kept on as a permanent, there was like 4 months where I was working in souvenirs, which was like dead. I was getting like 9,
Oh
10
yeah.
hours a week, man. You know, like I was not making any money. It sucked. And that really changed how I viewed money. Because once I did start getting like full-time hours, I started to really understand about like saving money, putting money aside, like having enough to where I don't have to feel that ever again. You
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
like up against the wall. That really shaped how I feel about money. So I would never put myself in a position, even if I was making 250K, I wouldn't buy like a house or live a lifestyle that would have me spend 230 a year or whatever, you
Right.
know, like
Exactly.
I would still always live to that point where I'm still
And you
safe.
know what? I had to get to that point because you know me, I was horrible with
Yeah,
money.
you were the kind of guy just to
I
buy
was
shit to buy it.
I was horrible with money for a
That's because you
long
didn't
time.
have those experiences that I had. A lot of people don't
No, I
have those
did.
experiences. Like those, I've said this before, like without the sour, the sweet's not as good, right? Like it sucked to
Yeah.
go through those times that I went through, but they were important and they taught me a lot about myself and about life.
Absolutely. And you know,
Yeah.
the situation came around, you know, I wound up having a kid at, you know, a
That
pretty
was those were your
young
times,
age, I
right? That
guess.
was
Right. I don't know.
fairly
I was
young. I
like, what,
mean,
23?
yeah, I mean, it depends on
Yeah.
how you look
So,
at it. I
yeah.
mean, I don't know.
It's not really young, whatever. But, you know, I wound up having a kid, which kind of like
That
switched
shaped
my,
it for you, right?
yeah, it would
Yeah.
switch my mentality. But it was like, hold on now. I can't just go out and buy a PSP just because I want it. Like, it's
That's what
not,
happens, right? Life will
it's
punch
not
you in
really
the face
happening.
sometimes and make you under like, and it's a good thing though, because there are people who never really learn that. They'll be in their 30s still living with their parents, they have no idea about money, don't care about a job, they just sit on their asses. You know, like they don't get that. So that's why, like,
Well,
as much as
the people that are up in age and still not trying to do anything, because you gotta like I've met people in New York that are in their 40s and still living with roommates and things like
and
that.
I don't think there's a problem with that. I or more mean like, are you are you trying to hopefully get your own place? Or are
Oh yeah,
you
yeah. You have to be
or are you just kind of
making,
person who's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
my mom makes dinner all make dinner for me
No,
and
no,
cooks
no,
the
no, no,
meals
no.
and does my
No,
laundry
no.
and kind of,
That's just
but
I don't even know what to call that. But you
those
have to be making
losers, I don't
some
know.
type of effort to do better and achieve more because
Yeah,
I did
100%.
you would admit it, admit it as well. It's hard to live in New York City.
Yeah, no, it is
It's
absolutely.
it's tough to live
This
in
is
New
a
York
tough
City.
city for a lot of reasons, and
It's
money
a
is one of
right,
them.
and they always say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
They say
I
that.
don't
I
necessarily
hope that's
believe
true,
that.
Terrance, because I made it here, so fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
I don't necessarily believe that, but
I do
I
know what they
could
mean though.
understand
Like,
that for
if
sure.
you listen, it was hard. Move. I hadn't lived in the city. Moving to the city, adapting this lifestyle, understanding how expensive things were and
Yeah.
how much money. Like it is hard. And I can imagine if you can make it here. I imagine there probably is like San Francisco is actually worse, but
Yeah.
if you learn those lessons, like I like to think I did, you
This
should
is
be fine.
what I tell people a lot is this is the city of hustle.
Yeah, of
This
course.
this is the city of hustle. It's literally you have to figure it out. No one is literally kind of gonna hand you anything out here. And you know, well,
Yeah, I
in New
wish
York
they
City,
would.
yeah, nobody's gonna hand you anything. And more so, people are probably gonna keep things away from you. They're if you
Yeah,
ask somebody,
because they need theirs.
yeah, if you ask somebody, oh, where'd you get that? They're probably more than likely not gonna tell you. It's you know, all right, I see what you're doing. Let me see if I can get into that. Let me figure it out.
Dog eat dog world, man.
It's a dog eat dog world, man. I was sitting outside waiting on the line for sneakers just so I could sell them on eBay, you know, the next
A
day or
lot of people
whatever.
doing that.
It's big now. It definitely
Wasn't
wasn't
then,
that big. Yeah, it definitely wasn't that big back then.
Yeah, I guess back to what we were originally talking about was what death. It is weird, man. Have you ever had someone close to you die? The only people close to me have died are both my grandfathers. But even them, like they didn't live near me, so I love them. Obviously, they were important to me, but I didn't know them like super super well. So I don't know. I've never really, fortunately, I guess, not experienced anyone like particularly close to me die.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was two people. It was my cousin Uniqua, who passed away during Valentine's Day, also All-Star Weekend. So it was like very memorable for me.
Right.
And that was in the early 2000s or whatever.
Jeez.
And it hit me because she was kind of like my cousin that was like also like my really, really good friend as well.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
You know, so it was like, yeah, that's my cousin, but like that's my homie too,
Yeah,
whatever. You know, so she was kind of like the first one that made me feel good about myself, if that makes any sense or whatever. There was an R&B singer from 112. His name is Slim, right? And she used to call me Slim. She used to call me Slim. So me, you know, that kind of gave me a little confidence as a teenager,
sure.
you know, like it was like, all right, like I got a little something going on, you know? So that really kind of hit me, you know, and for a long time, I didn't celebrate Valentine's Day for a long time.
Yeah, that'll do it, right? I mean, that's just, it's a bad time, man.
It just wasn't, I mean, it still has that sting on that day or whatever, you know, even my aunt, when she we get concerned, you know, like, you know, because it's Valentine's Day and it's like, all right, you know, we just want to make sure, you know, everything's okay. And then my uncle passed away, I want to say probably like a year now, maybe about a year and a half ago. And that bothered me because
I don't think I even you told me about that. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, that it bothered me, man, because we wasn't talking. We the last
like
time
something happened that stopped you guys.
Yeah, the last time we spoke,
thought about that last night actually too.
Me and him got into it, and you know, it was kind of crazy the last time we spoke, and we didn't speak for like months, and then I found out he passed away, and it just was like,
and you never got to like, you didn't talk to him again after that?
Man, it still bothers me now. I can't even sit here and lie. It still bothers me now because it's you know, you just I didn't have
feel
that
unresolved,
moment.
right? You feel things were never said that should have been said. Now that opportunities, you know, man, it's funny.
And it was me. It was definitely me. Like
right.
I held on to a grudge.
It's interesting, man. I literally last night was thinking just about that, even though we didn't know we were talking about. I didn't know we were talking about this. My sister, actually, my younger sister, she's just done some dumb things that I disagreed with, and she obviously disagrees with me disagreeing with her. And so we've only spoken once in the last like 2 years, maybe, and it was like an argument. And I think about that, and I'm like, I thought about it a lot in the last couple of months of like, I should just call her and we talk and just move on, because there's no point of, not that we maybe are particularly close, but there's no point of us holding on to this grudge, because what if something did happen to her?
No, yeah, absolutely.
You know, like it's literally what I was thinking about last night, and I was like, it's me being kind of stupid about it. So maybe I really should just kind of get that over with and
call. I definitely, I'm an advocate for that, because that was definitely a life lesson that taught me something, you know, as far as like holding on to grudges and things like that. Because 9 out of 10 times, whatever we don't agree with is not even that big of a deal.
Yeah, and honestly, man, I'm not the kind of person who holds grudges really almost at all. Like if there are people I've cut out of my life, that's not a grudge. It's just like, well, you know, you weren't good for my life. But there's not a lot of people I like specifically. I'm like, no, I do not talk to that person. You know, like they did this. Not, you know, it's like that's not how it is. Like I don't stop talking to people for one thing. If there are people who I don't think are good for my life, then I'll stop talking to them. But that's not what my sister's doing. It was just a bad series of events that led to us stop talking. And it's like it's dumb to do. Like you said, maybe I'll do that this week. Maybe I'll just finally say, fuck it. Let me just stop being immature about it.
Nah, for sure, man. For sure. It's important. And one thing my mother kind of really instilled in me and my siblings as kids or whatever, we don't hold on to grudges, you know, and that's why
I don't either.
That's why I'm so upset at myself that I even did that or whatever. But like, even if me and my sisters have gotten into arguments, me and my brother have gotten into issues or whatever, but we've always been able to resolve it that same day, you know, give each other a little time to cool down, and, you know, come back. You know, I had a little disagreement with my sister, and then, you know, she called me and was like, hey, look, I was really mad at you. I was really mad, and she explained why she was mad, and she apologized. I apologized for, you know, what I might have said to make her mad, you know, like
that doesn't happen often enough, you know, like, and that's a very adult thing to do, though. I feel like a lot of people like, someone always wants the other person to say sorry, and they don't want to assume blame.
Matter, right?
It's just dumb. That's something like if there's an argument, even if one person started it, the other person probably did something wrong in some capacity. Just say, listen, I'm sorry for how I reacted. Even if the other person is more wrong, just you apologize, they apologize. You both just move on. You know, like, I hate people who are like no, you said this to me, and then I just responded. So like, whatever. I don't care if I offended you. Like, you need to apologize to me. It's like, that's just
Hey,
childish
look,
to me, man. Like,
I will always say sorry first. I will always
I
say sorry first.
kind of am that person
I
too.
I have I have no problem with that at all, because you know what? It is not that big of a deal.
But
I value our relationship first.
my only problem is I guess that is that I have no problem apologizing first, but if they don't apologize back, then it's like, so
It doesn't even
I've had
matter.
relationships where I'm like, I'm the only one ever apologizing, even though both people are doing something wrong, and it's
Doesn't
like,
matter.
but
That's
it is
what that's looking for, is
no. But do you know
satisfaction.
why it's important though? Is because if the other person doesn't apologize, then they don't believe they did anything wrong, and then they don't grow. And if you're in a relationship, it it's important because then you're like, well, they're going to keep doing that thing that it bothers me. I
So
am
you feel like they
realizing
haven't, by them not apologizing, they are not acknowledging any of their wrongdoings.
100%. That's exactly what it is. Like, that's what I mean. Like,
I get it.
If you're in a relationship, it's common to have like specific fights more than once, right? Because of you do one thing, she does one thing, whatever it is. You you have to admit you were wrong and say, hey, I'm sorry, because then you go, you know what? I shouldn't have done that because I understand why. And then the next time you probably won't do it, or eventually you go to a point where you go, this isn't good. I'm doing it. She doesn't like this, whatever it is. But if the
Yeah.
other person never, if you never think that, then if you never apologize, then you're never going to think you're wrong. So you'll always do that same thing, you know? So that's why I think it's important for both people to apologize. So they can both go, I shouldn't have done that, whether to this person or to people in general. Like, I made a mistake.
No, I mean, I agree. I just think that sometimes you can do without. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah, I
can,
don't think necessarily every
you
time.
don't
And it's more for
need it.
relationships
It's
than
like,
like
you know,
friendships or my sister, like, you know, whatever. But I just think it's
not even a
important.
relationship.
I,
I
by the,
I apologize a lot of times or whatever, and sometimes Corey does it, and it's like, you know what? I mean, this, you know what? I don't need you to. I don't need you to apologize. Obviously, like you said, it'd be nice for you to acknowledge or whatever what might have bothered me or
I
whatever.
think that's important for people to grow, like as people to grow. That's what I think that's where it comes to me. Like, if
Mhm.
I look at mistakes and bad things as learning experiences. Like, so if we get into a fight, whoever it's with, I want them to do the same. I want them to go, okay, we had a new fight. What did each one of us do wrong? Let's get better for next time. And if, like I said, if it's a relationship, I think it's more important because that's your relationship. Whereas if it's my sister, it's like, well, it's not really that important necessarily that she learns what I was offended by necessarily, because it probably won't happen again. I don't
Right.
see her, talk to her every day, but I guess it's where I come from. I want people to learn, all of us to learn from all of our mistakes, because no one's perfect, and that's the only way to get better.
Absolutely. No one's perfect. Now, because no
not even
one's
close.
perfect, we need to stop expecting people to be perfect and
Yeah.
living up to whatever your idea of perfect, Joe, and my idea of perfect are two different things.
Yeah, very true.
Two different things. And we're living in a society now where there's only one standard for quote unquote perfection.
Yeah, it's ass.
And it's hurting us.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
hurting
No,
us.
100%. I agree. I think this need for perfection, whether it's physically or how someone acts, is just dumb. You know, we shouldn't be doing that.
Joe, but look, we got to lighten the mood just a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty serious.
Yeah, we kind of
yes.
little palate cleanser for a little bit.
That was Bill Weathers is a gem, wasn't he?
All right, you just need a little, right?
It's so many
Kinda
hits
get
too.
you.
It's hard to know which song to choose, but I love this song.
This is a good one to wake up to. Yeah. Yeah.
Bill Weathers was a gem of a human being. For those of you who haven't listened to Death, Sex, and Money, go listen to the episode with him. It's awesome. Terrance, let me ask you a question quickly. Do you ever correct anyone's grammar? Like, on the one hand, sometimes I don't want to be that guy, but it depends on the person. If it's like someone I care about, then I will, because I don't want them. You know what it is? I've had people like I've been close to, like they'll say something like supposedly or something, and I want to correct them, but not because I care, because I don't want them to go in like an interview.
Wait, say it again.
Something
Supposedly,
like supposedly with a B. It's
no,
supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yeah. But there's little things like that like I don't want them to go into an interview or something and they say that and the person's like, oh, they're probably dumb, even though they're not. That's certain. If you say certain words, like if you say it sounds, it's kind of obvious you're saying something wrong. So other than that,
I get in trouble for that a bit.
for correcting people.
Yeah, not people. So I don't.
Your
I
girlfriend,
do
maybe?
it. Yeah, I
Sounds
do
like
it
that's
to
what you.
people. I do it to people sometimes, and obviously being in a relationship, you talk to that person more. So,
Hmm.
you know, it's something that I do a bit more often than I probably should. But
Yeah, it can
I
be
don't
annoying, so I get it.
I don't it's not from me, from my side, it's not coming from a place of like correction or whatever, and obviously, with English not being her first language,
Is English not
some
Corey's first language?
no, but
She
sometimes,
seemed
there's a couple of words, she's
You
great
know
at
what?
English.
You know
She's
what it is? I do. I've had several girlfriends like this. They speak fluent English, but there's a couple of
There's certain
words.
words, yeah,
Yeah.
there's certain words or whatever, and I don't do it from a place of like, where things are wrong, or like me thinking less of you or anything like that. It's just kind of like a asshole annoying thing, and I know it's like the asshole in
You
me
do it
that's
to be an
doing it.
asshole?
No, I'm not doing it to be an asshole, but the way I do it comes out like an asshole.
What do you So if she says a word wrong, you like, babe, Jesus, that's not how you say it.
No, it more so comes out like I'm like we be having like a serious conversation, and she'll say a word and I'll repeat the word, but
Nah, you gotta read the room. You don't want to say it
yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
serious.
I'm horrible with that sometimes. I'm getting a lot better at it, reading the room. But I that
So,
was
but
a
why
that
are
was a
you do? Are
touchy
you
one.
doing it just to help her? Like you want her to?
Yeah, more so that, at least that's what I think. I'm doing it just to kind of like, like this is how it's said or whatever. But at the same time, like I have to put myself in that position, right? Like, what if I was, and I am learning Spanish. What if I said a word in Spanish and it just comes out like completely wrong? And then she's like, no, it's da 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 da. And I'm like, now I feel a
Yep,
little, now I feel
yep.
a little less than,
It's all about the
because it's
approach,
like,
man.
fuck,
It's about not.
right,
It's not what you
exactly.
say; it's how you
It's
say it.
how you say it.
I've
It's
heard that so many
how
times in the
you
world.
say it. So, I'm working on helping a bit better. And even when it comes to like things like grammar, just kind of making sure that, I help in a proper way. If you're gonna,
Right.
you know, help somebody, or correct somebody, correct them in a way where they feel as though like it's actually being of service.
Yeah, and
So
yeah, don't
yeah,
just go. You're saying it wrong, but you like, oh, you're
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
saying it the way you should say it. And again, to me, it's if I'm doing it, unless I like, excuse me, unless I hate the person, I'm just making fun of them. If I'm doing it, it's probably because I actually care and I don't want you to sound less than smart. Like not that I think that
Mm-hmm.
they're that. I mean, they're brilliant people, just don't speak English maybe perfectly. But I'm doing it because I'm like, I want you. I don't want you to sound bad to other people. It's not like I really care, but it
Yeah.
could be tricky. Like I said, I had an ex who I did it with. Not a bit too much, but with her, I was like trying because she was also more in like corporate America, so she needed it more than most people. And I don't know. Eventually, I was like, I think she's starting to get annoyed by this. Like, I don't know that I'm helping anymore. Like, so I had to back off a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, man, let's talk about tipping. Um,
Ah.
Now tipping is weird, right? There's a lot of different places in the world you tip. Like, obviously, the most common being a restaurant, but even like haircuts or a lot of things. Sometimes if
You tip after a haircut?
I mean, it depends. Yeah, I don't you isn't that a big part of
I mean,
being
when I used to
black
go
is
to
getting a haircut?
the when I used to go to the barber, I did. Yeah, yeah,
Do you not go
absolutely.
to the barber anymore? You just do it yourself?
Nah, I do it myself, man. There's no
But
need.
when you used to go, you tip, and that's a big part of.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, you said like it was crazy that I tip.
No, I mean, I don't know a lot of people that do tip the barber.
I thought that was like a
Honestly.
super common thing. You like, especially in New York City, where like haircuts seem to be more important. Like,
Yeah, but you know what?
because if you
Like
don't tip him, he's gonna
haircuts
fuck up
have
your hair next
went
time.
up. The price of haircuts have went up, and I think they've
Everything,
done that to include tips in it.
no, they do it because everything is getting more expensive, so they have to raise their prices, and because the rent got raised and this got raised, and everything's getting raised.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I used to go to the barber, back when I had hair to get a shape up and everything like that.
Are you losing your hair, or you just don't care? Keep it
No,
long.
I just cut the hell off,
Just
man.
straight
Like,
off.
yeah, I just shave it all
That's
off.
true. I don't even remember the last
Yeah.
time I saw you with hair.
And look, my girl likes it bald too. So
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
right, exactly. Like she likes it. I love it. Fuck what you think.
You know what I was thinking about, Terrence? Let me ask you a question. If you know how there are some girls who like won't shave their pits or their legs or whatever. I personally am not into that, right? Is that wrong of me to say?
Like her shaving her underarms.
Yeah, like if like some girls are like, no, like why should I? Guys don't do it. Well, if I'm
Wait,
like, well,
you want her to have hair under her
I
arms?
don't. I'm saying, is it
Oh,
bad that I
oh, oh.
don't want them? I
I
want
don't.
them to shave.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, some people have said like that's not okay. Like, why can't she not shave her arms? And I'm like,
She
well,
can absolutely not shave her
but I
arms
don't
and
have
be
to
with
be into
someone
it,
else.
right? Because people have said that to me, and I made the argument. I'm like, I've had several girlfriends who like were like, if you shave your beard, it's like really not attractive to me. I'm not into it. Like, we're not gonna have sex if you do that, basically, right? What's the difference there?
The same thing.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing like when two people are in a relationship, they not that they have like a definitive say, but if your partner likes your hairstyle, a beard style, certain aspects of you a certain way,
that's it.
Yeah, you kind of like, unless you hate it, you should you just whatever.
It's like,
right?
who else are you impressing, right?
Yeah, like listen, if I hated my beard, and I really wanted to get rid of it, then I probably would, and that would be on her to kind of deal with. But I like my beard, and if I was thinking maybe shaving it, and she was like, "No, I really don't," I'd probably go, "Okay, fine, I keep it."
Mm-hmm.
She has to see me more than I have to see me.
Yeah, and I want her to like
have sex
continue
with
to be
you?
attractive to me.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, back to tipping. So, Terrance, when you go to a restaurant, not in a pandemic world, of course, do you tip? I mean, I hope you do.
So,
oh god, immediately I just
no. Stop it. All right. So here's the thing. I used to work in retail, right? We used to work in retail.
Yeah.
You know, and in retail, you know, you didn't really have to deal with tipping, right?
No,
obviously,
tipping was like not allowed in those places.
Yeah,
like you weren't allowed to take tips, rather.
Yeah, obviously, you know, you went out to dinner and everything like that or whatever. Sometimes gratuity was suggested, and you know, I always tip when suggested. Like if I went out to, like, let's say like a Applebee's or something like that, right? Let's just keep it franchise. Let's just keep it franchise real quick.
Yeah, that's
right. Let's say I went to, like, because this was back in the days when I was younger. Back then, I didn't think like tipping over whatever was suggested was a thing. And then I got a job in hospitality industry.
I think I remember a time where you told me you didn't tip back in the day.
Like, it's years quite ago. Possible. It's quite possible.
I was like blown. I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, what?
It is quite possible. That was very ignorant of me. And then I got a job in the hospitality industry, and I really understood, you know, how it is and how like tips are a part of these people's livelihoods. Like this is how they make their bread and butter.
It's literally how they make their money.
Right. They're getting paid below minimum wage, and you know, this is what they need to survive. So at that point, I'm a generous tipper. Like I am a super generous tipper.
People who come from the service industry often become great tippers.
I am a generous tipper. Literally, me and Corey went out a couple of weeks ago to the One Hotel, which was a great bar. Our server was Henry. Henry did an amazing job.
Shout out to Henry.
Shout out to Henry at the One Hotel.
You're listening.
Yeah, One Hotel sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't been, but Terrance has been. He loves it. So
beautiful. We gotta go get some drinks over there, man. It's really good.
I'm down.
Really nice.
As soon as I get this vaccine.
Yeah, that too. So you know, he did an amazing job, and you know, like we talked there, we kicked it. I love servers that are like personable. You know,
yeah, me too. I'm big fan of that.
Yeah, they're not just like, I'm here to do a job, I'm a robot or whatever.
Not just a job to them. Like some people think that things are just jobs. Some people really care.
Yeah. So when they actually care about their job and what they're doing, stuff like that, it was really good. So Henry, I spent probably about my food and drinks and everything like that probably came out to like $100 and something. I tipped him $60.
Nice. That's a healthy tip.
And it was more so because I enjoyed my experience.
He enhanced it, right? He made it better.
Yeah, it wasn't just a good food. It wasn't just a couple of drinks or whatever. It was more so like, yo, I had such a good time here. I asked for his name. I was like, yo, like I'm coming back, like, and I need you to be my server. Like those experiences, those are really good. So now
that's a
I'm
good
a generous
thing.
tipper.
So let me ask you a question. Now, if you go to a restaurant, I mean, maybe not in the pandemic, but let's say nowadays you go to a restaurant, waiter doesn't seem to really care, isn't really personable, barely says anything to you, and doesn't help you at all. Like you're looking around, need refills. Like he's just overall bad waiter. What do you do with tip then?
I still tip the regular, maybe like 15%.
Really, even if he was like bad,
even
like
if
you would say
bad,
he's a bad waiter, you would still go,
You
I'll
have
give
to
you the
be
minimum.
horrible for me to just like do nothing.
I'm just curious if you would maybe give like, you know, like 15% is like your minimum, like the standard, right? Would you
Yeah,
give
I would
less?
still just give like I can't do less. Less makes me feel worse as a human being.
So this is how I would say I'm actually pretty close to what you do. I am the same. If you are a great waiter and you're nice and you enhance my meal, or not even if you enhance, if you're just giving me great service, like I drink a lot when I like just not alcohol, like just drink whatever I'm drinking. I drink a lot when I go to restaurants. I need to not be really worried about refills. If you see me getting low, just refill it. Because especially if I'm drinking and I'm almost out and then the food comes and then I have to wait like 5 minutes because I want something to drink, that's a problem for me. So if you're there, if you're on top of things, you're helpful, you're friendly, I'll give you a huge tip. Same thing. I've given out, 50% tips as well. Like if you really are that good, or even if you're not amazing, I'll still give you good tips. But I believe in the tip system as it is, which is the point of the tip system is to ensure good service. So if you give me bad service,
You're giving nothing?
I've only given nothing once. I've given like less than 15, maybe here and there. Like if you don't seem to give a shit, I'll tell you by the time I didn't give a tip. Okay. This was at Toys R Us after work. Me and, well, you know this person, I'm not gonna say their name. Me and him went out afterwards. It was like, we got off at like 10, 30, 11. So we went to this, it was a 24-hour diner, right? So it wasn't, I mean, we walked into like one other customer there, right? And again, 24 hours. It wasn't that we were there late. It was that it was open 24 hours. We go in, waiter comes up, puts menus down, walks away. Literally says no words. All right. Comes back and he looks at us and we kind of tell him what we want and what we drink. He walks away. No word spoken still. He comes back, he gives us water.
What time again was this? What time
This
was
is probably
it?
like 11, 11:30. And again,
it's not that late.
And it wasn't. And even if it was 3 a.m., it's like, this isn't like if it closed at midnight, we walked in at 11:30, I get it. It's 24 hours. There's no reason for you to ever be like, oh, I'm tired. Like you are working a late shift. But anyway, yeah, so doesn't say anything. He finally comes with our food, doesn't say a word, puts it down. I'm low on water. I look over, don't know where he is. I'm like, well, this sucks. I kind of want some water. I kind of eat some of my food. I'm waiting. I look over. I see him in the corner, like counting his money. I was like, excuse me, like, sir. Comes over.
You must have been his last table for the night.
Don't give a shit. We were the only, there was one table and then us, 2 tables total. He should have given us the best service possible.
Somebody else might have been coming for the other shift and you might have been like his last one.
Maybe. So, but he just accounting it. He was looking at it. I walk over. I was like, can I get a refill? Again, hasn't said a word. Don't know this guy's voices. He comes back with water in a cup, no ice. It's like room temperature. It's like,
oh, that's
he's
nasty.
serious. So when we were finished, he came over.
You don't order bottled water?
And no, huh?
You don't order bottled water
At a diner?
Oh, at a diner. Oh, that's right. 24-hour diner. Correct.
Yeah, it's just a diner. I'm not just gonna get this water. I'm not gonna order a bottle of water. But I never heard this guy's voice. He put his check down. Like at no point was he like, "Hi, how are you guys?" Like even the bare minimum. So I was like, "Nah, I'm not doing this." So I didn't. I paid and I left. I didn't leave a single tip.
So I'll
listen.
Be on the other side of that, though,
but here's the thing. I know this is the side of. This is the side of the customer. Your job and your money depends on being good. If you want to suck, then you will be paid accordingly. If he cared, if he had just done, "Hey, how are you guys doing? Okay, what can I get for you?" Said a couple words. If he was just looking around at the 2 tables he had, "Oh, do you need water?" And he brought him a water, I would have given him a 15% tip. That's all it takes. It didn't take him to do anything. It wasn't anything crazy. He just clearly didn't give a shit. And guess what? You're going to get your money is going to be, I don't give a shit. That's the only time I've ever given 0.
Look, I want to play on the other side of that because
as we do here on Need I Say More.
I've been a manager for servers and bartenders and things like that, in the hospitality industry. So I've had to go on a bat for my staff a lot. And the thing is, I'm one of those managers where they come to me because I always tell them like, look, I'm going to war with you every day, so I always got your back. So I remember one time one of my servers came up to me and was like, "Terrance, this guy didn't tip." I'm like, "What do you mean? Like nothing?" She's like, "No, he didn't give me anything." I look at the receipt. He bought like 2 bottles, a bunch of food and things like that or whatever.
So it was expensive then. Like it was a good
Yeah,
amount of
yeah,
money.
it was expensive, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Now I take the receipt and now I gotta go to this guy. I go to the guy. I'm like, hey, what's up? How's everything? It's like everything's great, having a good time, blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm happy to hear it. I see you just paid your bill. Is everything okay? Are you sure everything's okay? He's like, yeah, everything's great. We had a good time. It's fun. I love it here. Amazing, right? Dude made it sound
Maybe
like he
he
was
was
at
just
Disney World.
maybe he was you from long years ago. You had no idea.
Whatever, right? So he goes. So I go to him and I'm like, look, I said, okay, good. I'm happy to hear that. I said, but um, you didn't tip my server. Is
It's kind of
everything
an
you
awkward. That's
sure?
an
You
awkward
sure everything
conversation
is
to
okay?
have.
I said, you sure everything is okay? Because you didn't. I noticed there's no gratuity. There's no tip or whatever. So he goes, oh, I thought it was included. I said, no, it's not included. Not included at all. It's like, oh, okay. So what do I have to give her? I said, well,
What do you feel she?
bills a certain amount. I was like, how'd she do? He's like, she did pretty good. I was like, okay, cool. So I mean, look, suggested amount is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
15%. Anything over it will gladly appreciate, right? So I say that because there are situations where some people quote unquote think it's included. Obviously, overseas they include
Well, no. Oh, yeah, overseas there is no tipping, which is why when you go overseas, do you get shit service because they don't give a fuck. Their money
right.
doesn't depend on you them giving you good service, so they can just say nothing
Now I had a customer that literally was just like, I'm not tipping him shit. I'm not
because
tipping him anything.
they didn't think they gave. Actually, really quick before you go down that, did the experience I just told you? Do you think I should have given him a tip? I mean, did he
Uh
deserve a tip?
Deserve, no.
Yeah, and that's
The
what I'm
thing
saying.
is
Like
the thing is tipping is a deserve centric, right? Like it's
it's
literally
the tip
based
system
upon
exists.
performance.
Exactly, it exists for a reason. It exists because it's designed so that waiters, servers, whatever they're called, they give you the best service they can give you, and they get tipped accordingly. And I follow that system. I'm not going to give everyone. I know a lot of people who work in the service industry. Oh, you have to give no. If you don't give a shit about your job, I'm not going to give a shit to give you money. And I guess that's the one time I've had people who I've given like a little bit less than 15% if I was like they weren't very good, but I still give something. But like I'm not going to go, oh, I should feel bad for them. All their money comes from tips, but he doesn't give a fuck about his job, so I should still pay him. No, that's why we have dumbasses in this world who have jobs they don't give a shit, like they don't care about,
Hey,
because
I'm
we
gonna say
pay people just even though they suck.
I'm gonna say something real quick because I found it kind of funny. There was a video online or whatever with a group of people going out and they was trying to pay for the bill or whatever. Um, Listen, you idiots that don't know what the hell gratuity is, it's not a menu item. All right. Don't go and
Is
ask
the
the
tip
server. Don't ask the server. We didn't order gratuity.
some that
Can
that
you
happened to
take
you, or
this off?
that actually happened to you? Can you take that off? Did that actually happen to you?
it's, it's happened before.
How
That's
young
happened
were
before.
they?
That's happened for right. And also, what has happened before is a group of people going out and asking for separate bills. Now, you know me. I've worked in some pretty fancy places as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in some pretty goddamn good places. We don't. You're not at a diner.
Yeah.
Do not go to these restaurants asking for separate checks. I don't know who
Yeah.
I'm talking to, but I'm
Listen,
pretty sure somebody needs to hear this.
the separate check thing should be for like anything that's casual and below. If it's a diner, if it's like an Applebee's, whatever, right? Really, I mean, if you need to do it, do it. Outside of that, yeah, don't go to like the 40/40 club, like some nice restaurant or whatever these places are, and
Do
go, oh,
not
split, because
do the
that's just
separate checks. Y'all have
corny.
Zelle, y'all have Cash App, you have
Yeah,
plenty of
Venmo.
Venmo. You got plenty of ways to share the money and get it to one person card. And if y'all came out here and one person don't got at least enough to cover the whole balance themselves, then y'all came out on the wrong night. As simple as
Yeah,
that.
like you know what? Goes back to what we were talking about earlier about living within your means. If you don't really have much money, don't go to some expensive fucking club and try to get like really expensive
I
stuff.
never went out without money.
Yes,
I can't do it.
me
I
neither.
could never do it.
You think I was going out when I first moved out here? When I first met you, when I had no money, you think I was going out? No, man. I needed like the first time me and you hung out outside of work was the end of like 6 months after I met you. Because that was well, I first got full-time hours. My first like started talking to you. That's when I got transferred to that department. 6 months later, when full time for 6 months, I'd earned enough money to actually be able to spend some. That's when
There
me
you
and you
go.
hung out. It was Halloween actually. And as everyone knows, this is our friendship anniversary month.
That's
So
my
do the math.
my birthday, day before Halloween.
Yeah. Well, it does. Yeah. I don't know. I think it was like the week of Halloween. I don't know about your birthday, but
That makes sense because we used to do the thing in Chelsea, the haunted
that's
house
literally.
thing.
I think that was the first time I hung out with you was that night,
Right, exactly.
like outside of work.
That makes sense. I used to love going to those things.
Yeah, it's fun. My one of my exes, my last ex, we went to a few different like haunted house, like full like, and she was in Jersey, so we went to like some big ones, some massive like warehouse level shit. There was one we did. It was like two different ones. We did the regular one, and the second one was a completely pitch black one. That one was crazy.
Nah.
It was because there was four people. It was a double day. It was me, my girl, and another couple. I somehow got the short straw and was in front. So it was literally like me, my ex holding on my back, and then there two people hold on behind them. So I literally had my hands out and just was slowly. And there was multiple times I went the wrong way, and the person who worked there was like, no, other way, because I'm like walking into where they're hiding because you can't see. It was literally pitch black. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
Nah, I love those. It'll be a while until those come back. Maybe 2023.
Oh, man, I didn't think about that. Yeah, definitely not this year. But anyway, with tipping, I just follow the system. If your money depends on how well you perform, you should perform well. That's just how it works. Like I don't understand like why that's crazy. Like it's not like you don't know that. You know it's like that guy. He obviously didn't give a shit about me tipping him because he just didn't give a shit about me and my service, his service. So
No, that's true. Like, okay, I'm good to go.
The gratuity thing though, take that off my bill. That's hilarious, man. Were they foreign? Like were they not from here, or were they just young kids? They didn't.
No, they was just ghetto.
Just ghetto idiots didn't understand it.
Ghetto.
Take this off my bill. I don't know what gratuity is.
I didn't know what a gratuity.
I didn't know what a gratuity. Oh man, that's funny. Do you ever get like unsolicited phone calls? Is that something you're getting or just me?
Oh no, I get the call about my car insurance as well.
I get like at this point I'm getting like 3 a day.
Yeah.
Every day. Did you know there's a list you can put yourself on to get off those things?
Oh no.
The NDNCR. If you go to that website, you can put your information in, and that was supposed to be stop all of them. And if you still get stuff after like a month, they say like to give them the phone numbers of the ones you're getting.
Oh, I gotta try that out.
Yeah, because I'm getting sick of getting all these fucking phone calls. All right, Terrance, I think that's pretty much the end of our show. Of course, we always have a hypothetical question to end the cast with. All right, Terrance, if you had somehow you got
$1
yeah, what would you do? No. But if you got a presidential favor, right? So Biden comes up to you and it's like, for whatever reasons, like you can ask me for one of anything, essentially, right? Not like the moon, but like a favor. So this could be like, hey, I want to know what happened with John F. Kennedy. Like, did he get shot? What's government involved? What happened? It could be.
Wait, I gotta wait. I can ask him something involving. I can't ask.
You can ask him for
something?
a favor. So you can ask him
a favor
to a get out of jail free card. You can be like, if I go to jail at any point or someone I know, we can walk. I get one we can walk card. Unless it's like, maybe murder, maybe, but I'm saying like you could basically ask for a favor. And again, it can't be like send me to the moon, but it has to be like something like that. Like, is there anything specific you've ever wanted to know? Is there anything you want to like get? Yeah.
I'd probably
You can't say, oh, all cops stop shooting black people because the president can't just do that.
I'd probably ask for black and disenfranchised communities to have a higher minimum wage for the next like 5 years or something.
Well, all black communities in the country?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like is that a favor he could do? I don't know if he has a little.
I don't know.
I think that's like a Congress thing. I don't know if I don't know if that counts. I feel like that's a little too wide. It needs to be like a specific.
How can I ask him?
I
Because the president has to go through chains of commands too.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like a jail free card would be like no, it wouldn't be like a public thing. It would just be like, okay, something happens.
Jail free card. I mean, I might.
Yeah. Listen, if the president doesn't want you in jail, if you go to jail for some random stuff, like if you murder somebody.
Donald Trump got ASAP Rocky out. So.
But listen, if Joe Biden called up a jail and was like, I need you to take this prisoner out, what are they going to do? No. It's fucking president.
So that
Like,
would allow me to essentially rob a bank and then
it depends
go
on
to
how
jail.
public. It depends on how public this thing was, though. If you are a bank and you're on,
you said I can got a jail free.
well, what I'm saying is,
what
I'm saying is, if you went to jail on a very public robbery and everyone in the country saw it, there's like this big news. It'd be quite hard for them to get you out of jail. If it was like you went to jail for doing something that wasn't super publicized, no one's going to know that you've been taken out of jail. But if it's like O.J. Simpson, they couldn't just pardoned him or like gotten him off. I guess they could pardon people. So maybe if you want that, if that's what you want your thing, like a jail free card, it's a good thing to have. President could just pardon you.
I
Technically,
can't really ask him for a lot of things, but just
a lot of things. Is there anything if you ever wanted to know, like 9/11? Was the government in 9/11? You could ask them all the information they have on that.
I don't even care about that.
I'm just saying, like, you don't care about anything, so there's that.
Nah, I don't care about a lot of things. But I don't. Yeah, I mean, if you bringing it up, like, I'd probably take the get out of jail free card because since the guy can't really, I don't want to know shit about America. Like, I don't want to know about Area 51. Does it actually exist or not?
Well, you wouldn't want to know that. If he said yeah, and they're like, we have aliens there right now, we're studying. You wouldn't want to be like, help
me.
See, it's because it's people like me and people like you. People like me are the reason we are so far in the world. People like you are the reason we just stay still.
Because
you have no interest.
A question
because
something that doesn't.
You have no
really
interest in in moving forward in knowledge. Like people say that about the moon. Like, why do we need to go to the moon?
It's not true. That's completely fucking wrong.
It's not though. You just said, what would aliens matter? It could be a big thing. Who knows what that could tell you? If we had aliens,
how does it benefit me?
It could benefit you in a lot of ways.
How?
And it's not even about benefiting you individually. It could be about benefiting society.
How?
If you knew there were aliens, I mean, if you could go there and see maybe what they're studying, what they're figuring out, maybe there's crazy new technology that can come from that.
Okay, so
it's okay. I'll give you an example. It's like people say the same thing when they say, "Why do we need to go to the moon? What does it matter? What does that benefit me?" Well, it benefited us because number one, we need to look past just Earth and start to conquer like conquer the stars.
We're still doing the research for it to figure out new ways.
Because everyone stopped caring after in 1969, so NASA lost their funding. That's why Elon Musk has to do it by himself because NASA lost their funding.
Take us to the moon, Elon.
No, Mars is what he's going for.
Mars, yeah.
What I'm saying is us driving it to the moon, like, Velcro, NASA invented Velcro. And like
spacesuits.
Yeah, they needed stuff that could stick together that wasn't relying on like glue because glue wouldn't work in a
look. If I'm gonna ask the president for something, I'm gonna be selfish about it. I'm just gonna call it plain blank. It is.
I'm just saying, knowledge is important.
Knowledge is important. But just because I don't want to know about fucking aliens don't mean I don't care about.
That's not what I'm arguing. My argument was you were like, well, how's that going to benefit me? I don't want to know. You said I don't want to
selfish about it.
You said I don't want to know any of this.
Request.
You said I don't want to know anything about this stuff. I'm like, well, I don't know. Some of that stuff is interesting to me.
I want a selfish request.
I'm not saying
because you're speaking specifically about asking the president about something, a favor.
I'm not saying it can't be selfish.
Asking a favor. I want a selfish favor.
I'm not saying it should likely be selfish because it's for you. I'm not saying it shouldn't be selfish. What I'm saying is the idea of like this information would like if I knew
it's
the government
information
had something to do.
I'm not wasting my favor on.
I don't know, man. That. I mean, what if I said I want to know everything about 9/11 that the government knows, and it turns out fucking they were part of it. They crashed it. Well, maybe I wouldn't want to live in this country anymore. Maybe this country's way more fucked up than we realize. These types of things are important.
Very true.
So you just get a jail free card. It's not a bad favor.
Free card. I'll take it.
Not a bad favor.
Take it.
I don't know, man.
One night in Vegas.
The alien one would be interesting if they actually have information. Like they've actually, because all those rumors about, the 51, all these things, I do wonder, like, do they have information that they just haven't released to the public? It'd be interesting, man. I don't know. That'd be up there for me.
It's something to think about.
I mean, I'm just saying, if I knew that they're definitively we had aliens, that would change my whole life.
I think we do.
But you don't know.
I don't know, but I think we do.
So if I said they buy and show me everything we have on aliens and they have like a report they've had aliens for 50 years.
I think it's super weird that we know less about the ocean than we do about space.
I had a whole thing about aliens, but I couldn't talk about that.
Yeah,
so.
we're not.
It dealt with lists, and Terrance is not. As we talked about a second ago, Terrance has no interest in knowledge. He has no interest in learning about things.
Not about aliens.
Who cares, right? Even though
Yeah.
this is also the guy who said that if we could go to Mars, you'd be the first person on that trip. So you don't
I
care
said
about
that?
aliens, but you do. Yes, that was one of the top things we talked about. You said you'd be the first. I said, would you go to Mars if you could? And you said 100%.
Yeah, I'd probably go to Mars. Yeah, for sure.
But of course, you
Sounds
don't
like
care
something
about
I would say.
aliens. You care about going to another planet, but not about aliens and that. Even though aliens might help us move to other planets if we were to like find them.
Yeah, but if you asking me if I care about knowing, no, I don't care about knowing. If we somehow find out, yeah, sure. Hey, fuck it. Hey, welcome to the family.
Well, then you do care about knowing. You just don't want to use your favor on that.
No, I don't want to use.
That's
my favor on
fine.
it.
That's fine. Two different things. What would my favor be? You asked me, Terrance. Don't know, man. Don't know. I wonder if there's like. I feel like I'm thinking too inside the box here. I feel like I gotta really think about other things. It probably would be something like the aliens. I would love to know that information. That's like a
But there
fascinating
you go.
thing.
You can use yours on the aliens. I can use mine to get out of jail free. We go break into Area 51, and I'll be okay.
And then only you'd be okay though. So if I got caught, I'd be screwed. But you would
I
be
can
fine.
go break into Area 51 for you.
Okay.
Find out a little bit more.
I mean, Area 51 does exist. It's not like a hidden secret. It's just what they
No,
have.
it's not
there.
a secret.
There's that when we were that Facebook group a few years ago. And it was like if we all storm it at once, they can't stop
They
us
can't
all.
stop us all.
And then but it became too big, and the guy was like, this is a joke. Please don't do this if you get shot. Because they will shoot you if you go past certain lines. Like, they don't give a fuck. But anyway, Terrance, that's the end of the show, I think. Terrance.
What? I'm sorry, my headphone fell off. Sorry.
I said, Terrance, that's the end of the show.
Oh. My
Unless
headphone fell off.
Unless you have something else.
No, my headphone fell off. Like literally, I guess as you were talking, my
Right
headphone
at the
fell
end
off.
of the show, and you're falling apart.
Thank you for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Need I say more? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with us, and we appreciate that. Need I say more? Part two.
All right.
You could have been anywhere in the world.
Sorry.
Take three.
Sorry.
Why is this so hard? It's the same thing.
I don't know. You do it every time.
I
Just
do it every week. Why is it so difficult? It doesn't make sense.